Race 3 of today's billing in the 2022 Finetwork FIM Junior GP World Championship comes from the Circuito de Jerez and with the European Moto2 Championship. 4.4 kilometers in length and already one of the favorites for riders and fans alike. Jerez is a true timeless classic venue and Moto2 action promises to be no different. 17 laps around this famous venue. Who is going to take honours in the south of Spain today? Moto2 action here at the Circuito de Jerez. It's the European Championship, the 2022 Finetwork FIM Junior World Championship paddock rolls into halfway in 2022. It's round 4. I'm Kiko Giles and alongside me, Steve English, will be bringing you the coverage throughout today's action. We've seen 2 fantastic races that have gone to the last corner already today. This promises to be no different, although it should be a slightly more civilised affair. Last time out, the rivalry of Lukas Tulovic and Senna Agius was a talking point, and Senna is looking at taking 3 straight wins. Will Tulovic fight back? We'll find out very soon. But Steve, this championship, this season, has really come alive.
Yeah, Tulo versus Agius has been the battle that we've been waiting for in the Moto2 class. Obviously, last year, we saw Alonso Lopez up against Fernando Aguirre. It was a really good battle all the way through the season. But Tulovic versus Agius is a little bit different. It's a young rider against the experienced rider, and Agius last time around really impressed.
He really did, but he had to fight for it. It wasn't all easy. This was back in Barcelona just a couple of weeks ago. Tulovic got the whole shot. There was plenty of battles all the way through the field. The Skrieg was in there with Toledo as well. But the number 81 of Senna Agius just found form and came on very, very strong indeed. There was battles right the way through the field, but this was Senna Agius leading the way and taking the checkered flag in race 1. Well, this was a contact as well. Tulovic once again got a good start, but it was a Skrieg who actually led the way on the number 11. He was forced out later on. Tulovic leading, but it was again Senna Agius who would come on strong. A big crash at turn 12. Nothing to worry about there. Senna took the victory. He'll be looking to do the same again. A big battle for the final podium positions as well. But the main story is whether or not Senna Agius or Lukas Tulovic will be back on the top of this podium today. 25 degrees air temperature. It's slightly cooler than it has been all weekend. Steve, what can we expect from this? This is an intriguing battle, to say the least.
Well, from Tulovic, what we've seen all the way through this season is every lap he's been first or second, so we know what we're going to get from him. From Senna Agius, he's a rider that's come through first year on a Moto2 bike, looks really comfortable out there on it. He's a bigger rider. He suits the Moto2 bike a lot more than he suited a Moto3 bike in the Junior GP class, and certainly he looks like a guy that could use this as his big stepping stone. Obviously, we've seen from Aldeguer this year how impressive he's been in the World Championship. We've seen what Alonso Lopez has been able to do since he stepped up to replace Romano Fenati as well. So we know that this class can really help produce that talent. We also have it now for the first time where pretty much all of the Moto2 class bikes in this field are all with the newer Triumph engine as well. So that makes a big difference. It's giving them that same experience that you're going to have to need to bring to the World Championship.
And that's one of the key talking points actually when we got here yesterday at the circuit, was that everyone more or less, besides a couple, are with the new Triumph engine. And how important is that now that everyone's on a slightly more level playing field? Give a bit more opportunity.
Well, I think obviously the front-running riders, the likes of Tulovic, we knew he was going to be on the Triumph all the way through the winter. But now you've got it where a lot of other teams are able to find the budget to be able to get that package together. And you do need to have a big budget to be able to bring a Moto2 bike to the European Championship. But there's a lot of teams and riders that have been able to do that. And they've really been able to show that they can turn out a good bike as well. And obviously what we've seen from Tulovic and the Agius they've been the step forward. But the likes of Alex Skrieg this year on the number 11 machine, he looks very competitive on a Moto2 bike. And then obviously Alex Toledo, we've seen in the last few years in this class, he's always been consistent in the Moto2 class. Obviously came up through on the 600 bike before this. But for Toledo, for Skrieg, and even for Matteo Ratto as well, keep an eye for him. He scored points in every race on the number 13 machine. So there's a few riders that have been able to really make good use of the newer bikes this year and find a lot of consistency with them.
And the teams as well making good steps. We've seen at points this weekend that it hasn't been a two-horse show at all between Tulovic and Aegis. It has actually been a lot of Javi Cardelus in the mix, especially Skrieg as well. Skrieg has looked very, very good on one lap pace. Not sure whether they'll string it together. That's going to be what we're finding out very, very soon. Not long until the race gets underway. It gets underway at 1 o'clock local time here. This is your poleman, though. Lukas Tulovic looking for a 4th victory of the season. I'm not sure whether it's going to be as easy as that. 3 wins, 2 second places, Steve. The form guide writes itself.
Yeah, he raced here in Moto E as well, had a top 10 finish in that, and certainly for Tulovic all the way through this season, we've seen a really fast, consistent rider and one that looks very well placed to keep that winning run going.
Speaking to people around the paddock as well, Tulovic, after Catalonia, after Barcelona, is slightly on the a little bit more under pressure. It was a very relieving Estoril round, but he's under a bit more pressure this weekend following defeat in Barcelona. Javi Cardelus, second, first front row of the year.
Yeah, it's been really tough for Cardelus lately. You can see that double non-score last time out in Catalonia. That was because of injury. He had to withdraw actually from, I think it was the Mugello Moto E round after suffering from injuries. So he's still trying to recover from that, but front row of the grid for him.
Yeah, very good for front row. First of the year, as we say, and he's going from the middle of it, so it's strong stuff. He was actually very, very close with Aegis this morning in morning warm-up. So it looks like, I think about 10th and a half covered the top 3. So it looks like it's going to be a very good battle at the front. 3rd place, this is the man that we're all talking, sorry, this is 4th place, sorry. The man we're all talking about, Senna Aegis. 4 podiums, including 2 wins last time out. He's still so young as well, Steve. The potential that this kid has got is quite astonishing, really. Yeah,
for Aegis, just turned 17 a couple of weeks ago, and he's been really impressive this season. 2 wins. He's had podiums in all but 1 race this season, and finds himself 25 points behind in the championship standings. But it's been a really impressive campaign for him, having jumped up from a Moto3 bike after not really shining too much in the last couple of years in the JuniorGP class.
Yeah, he seemed to struggle here in the Moto3 class. This is another rider who's made the step up. Right, I can remember when he was back in ETC, Roberto Garcia, and 5th on the grid. A very strong showing from the Spaniard.
Yeah, for Garcia, he's only 16 years of age, but he's, as you can see there, had 2 really good results. Race 2 in Estoril, Catalunya race 1, able to get himself into the top 6 in both of those races. He's a rider that's come up through after being in the ETC, like you said, Kiko, and last year here in the ETC class, he had 2 top 7 finishes as well, a 7th and a 6th.
Yeah, very strong stuff here last year in a highly competitive class and straight inside the top 5 in Moto2. He's made a very good adaptation. Alex Toledo, he's going to be another one looking to make a return to the podium. 1 podium this year, 20 years old. 4th in the championship, 6th on the grid.
Yeah, we've seen him racing in the World Championship as well during the course of this season. Catalunya, Saxon Ring, and last time out at Assen as well. So he's gotten some World Championship experience. That goes along with a lot of experience from the Spanish Championship in the last few years, and then obviously racing here in the Moto2 European Championship.
Alex Skrieg, a bit of a story about him this weekend. Skrieg actually should have been on pole position. Race direction took his lap time away. I'm not sure what the infringement was. It wasn't really ever communicated, but Skrieg should have been on pole. Then he was back to 4th. Then he's up to 3rd. So in the end, Skrieg 3rd on the grid. He is an outsider here today.
He's a good rider. He's been able to be a podium finisher in the Red Bull Rookies Cup. He's had a good season in Moto E as well, and now he gets that chance from the front row of the grid.
Leading off the 3rd row, Hector Garzo, the 24-year-old on the MV Agusta. How good would it be, Steve, to see the MV up in the battle for victory this weekend? Yeah,
lots of experience for Garzo. He's won 3 races in the European Championship. He also started a couple of seasons in the World Championship. So he is a fast rider with a lot of experience, but getting the most out of that MV is a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, and it's proving that on the world stage as well. But they're chipping away and they are making gains incremental, and it's not always shown in a field that's constantly making big strides either. Next here is Yeray Ruiz. We've seen him in action over in the World Superbike paddock a couple of times, and he's 8th on the grid here today, still chasing that first podium. but a high of 4th in Valencia a couple of rounds ago.
Yeah, and certainly for Ruiz, we've seen him in the Yamaha R3 Blue Crew European Cup this season, and the opening round of the year in Aragon, he actually won the opening race of the year, had a podium in that. He's also raced in the Moto2 Championship this year as well, the Moto2 Cup, and then obviously racing in the European Championship here in Moto2. So he's getting as much racing and riding in as possible this season.
Plenty of track time and plenty of time to make the gap up to this guy. Lukas Tulovic has been in fine form. This is back on row 3 though. Tommaso Marcon now. Oh dearie me, what on earth is that hairstyle? And that's coming from me. That is worrying, but
I was going to say, Kiko, you cannot say a word, mate. But I think for Tommaso, you can see there it's been a tough season for him. That top 6 finish in Valencia, the highlight for him. But he's a rider with some World Championship experience. Raced for RW a few years ago, raced for MV last year as well, on I think 5 or 6 occasions as well. So he's a rider that has that experience, but up to him to probably get himself down to the barber pretty soon.
I can recommend a bad one if he's interested. 9th on the grid for Marcon, and very good to see him back. We joke about that, but he's very good. He's been a good rider, solid rider in Moto2, and he's had good periods in a variety of championships. Mark Alcoba is in 10th. He completes the top 10. The fan club is here. We saw them yesterday. So Mark Alcoba looking for a 3rd top 10 on the bounce and a return to the top 6. Can he do it? He's a bit far down on the grid.
Well, Alcoba actually impressed me a lot last season in the Supersport World Championship. He had some top 10 finishes in that, and now he's been able to move on to a Moto2 European Championship bike. Like you said, Kiko, a couple of top 10 finishes in a row, trying to build on that. There's only one race for the Moto2 class here in Jerez this weekend.
Very, very true indeed. He's going to be knocking on the door of the strong points-paying positions. This is the 38 now. This is the top stock rider on the grid. Juan Rodriguez on the Cuna Campeones Yamaha. Keep an eye out for him. He was in a bit of a battle, I think it was with Tapia, for top stock honours. And he's had points, the first points of his season last time out in Catalonia, 14th and 15th, so keep an eye on him. Yeah,
and in the stock class, it's a lot more difficult to get yourself into those actual points-paying positions for the top 15, just because we got now so many Moto3 bikes out there with, Moto2 bikes out there with the Triumph engine as well, so it is getting harder and harder out there for the stock riders.
We're coming up to 12th on the grid in a minute. That is Montero. He's actually on a KTM. Not many of them around in this paddock. Here he is. Eduardo Monterey, the Spaniard, 23 points racked up this year, top 10 overall in the championship. He's only 19. He's got a good chance here to really crack on in the top 10. A good starting place on the 4th row. Yeah,
raced most of last season in the Supersport World Championship as well. Raced most of the European rounds. Didn't score any points, but gained a lot of experience from that. And now on that KTM, it's up to him to really make use of that and see if he's able to come away with some points-paying finishes today.
Sometimes experience can mean a lot more than the points if you're not actually in the main title battle. It's about more of an investment in the future. We go further down the field. This is Mattia Ratto now. What on earth is he doing down in 13th place? He really should be higher up than that. He's had a podium at the start of this year. Estoril, the scenes down in Parc Fermé of jubilation and elation there. I'm not sure we're going to be seeing them much today. He struggled this weekend.
Yeah, top 10 in every race so far this season, and like you said, a podium at the opening round in Estoril. But last time out in Catalonia in the 2nd race was much more of a struggle for him, only able to come away with a 10th place finish. That was actually his worst finish of the season so far, but certainly a rider always worth keeping an eye on the number 13.
This is Kyle Paz. This is the number 32 on the styler bike Yamaha. This is the 20-year-old, 14th on the grid, a little bit further down, but he's had a top 10 this year. That was back at Estoril too.
Yeah, it comes through the Underbone series from Asia. Was actually the Underbone champion a couple of years ago, but he's been racing now in Europe the last 2 seasons and managed to score some decent points this season. Career best results of 7th, so he'll try and better that over the course of the rest of the season. It's going to be tough to do it today.
It'll be tough to beat this man here. Lukas Tulovic is your pole man. Can he convert it? Moto2 European Championship action from the Circuito de Jerez. Ángel Nieto. Lukas Tulovic is your series leader and he's your pole man, looking to get back to winning ways. Xavi Cardaluz is in 2nd. Escrig is 3rd. Senna Agius, double winner last time out, is 4th. Roberto Garcia and Toledo complete the top 6. Steve, we're expecting the win to come from one of those riders. Are there any outliers on the grid? Look at the 5th row, for example, Ratto and Bishakirski, way down the order.
Well, let's say it. Is this the day for Xavi Cardelus? And we've been waiting for him to be able to pick up his first race victory in this class for a very long time. But for Cardelus, the front row of the grid gives him that opportunity. But realistically, on the basis of what we've seen over the course of this season so far, we know that Lucas Tulovic is going to be really strong all the way through this race at the front of the field on that number 3 machine. We know that Senna Agius has been able to finish on the podium at all but one race this season. And you'd certainly expect both of those riders to be right there all the way through. Toledo up on the front row is, the second row of the grid is always a rider worth keeping an eye on that number 55 machine. And like you said earlier, Alex Skrieg on the number 11 should have had that pole position, but lost his fastest lap.
Warm-up lap underway, then temperatures are starting to rise. It's a bit sunnier here at Jerez. It's the coolest it's been all weekend. Still not very cool, but it's still a solid 25, 26 degrees. But the sun is now beating down, warming this circuit up. There's been a lot of cloud cover here today. Remember waking up this morning, it was chilly, or chillier down at breakfast, and there was a lot of cloud, Steve, and that is starting to play into the hands of in the smaller classes, but it's starting to brighten up now. 27 degrees air temps.
Yeah, whenever we got up this morning, I saw quite a few of the locals out, jeans, jumpers, jackets, and I was kind of thinking, it's still about 18, 19 degrees, guys. There's no need to be worrying too much about it. The sun is now burning through the clouds. We're starting to see some blue sky out here. It is starting to get hotter. What's going to be key is how much hotter the track temperature gets. Obviously, for these Moto2 bikes, a lot more power going through those rear tyres than what we have in the Moto3 and the European Junior Cup Championships. But certainly, they know that in this class, it's going to be about managing that tyre as the temperature comes up.
I should just say, if you don't know Steve English, he does wear shorts to the Aragon winter test in November when the daily average highs are 4 degrees, so he's always shocked when someone's wearing jeans. We got a quick look at the championship standings. 25 points of difference.
Yeah, and for Tulovic, he holds that advantage right now, but we also know after Catalunya, he's a rider under a little bit of pressure, and it's going to be up to him to be able to prove that he's able to deal with that up against Senna Agius. Agius on the number 81 machine, mentored by Leon Camier. Camier has spoken very highly of Senna for the last few years, and now on a Moto2 bike, we're really starting to see just how good he could be, and certainly for any young rider in this class, the only riders they need to look at are the likes of Fermin Aldeguer, front runner this season in the Moto2 World Championship, and the likes of Alonso Lopez, who came through from this championship last year as well, to jump onto a Moto2 World Championship bike halfway through this season, and has immediately been very impressive. If you can cut it at the front of this field, you're going to get an opportunity to move on to the World Championship. And
mentored by Leon Camier as well. Not a bad mentor. He's doing a great job as Team HRC team manager over in World Superbike. If you're not sure, go and check it out. Grid is forming, Steve. Predictions? Who's it going to be?
I think it's very difficult to look past Tulovic given the form that he has, but this man Alex Skrieg has been fast all the way through the weekend. It does look like this is going to be a very competitive race in the Moto2 class, but it is just going to be who can manage their tyre best.
Just a side note, Skrieg on that number 11. Beautiful livery on the Yamaha Moto2 bike. Don't see that very often. Green flag at the back then. We are getting ready for the third race, the only race of Moto2 action here at Jerez. Go! Good starts from Tulovic. Great start from Skrieg. We said the number 11 was going to get a good launch there, and he has. Tulovic tries leaning on him on the outside, does lean on him, gets forced out himself. The German rider pushed out on the exit of turn 1. Skrieg is holding firm. Crasher in about 2 crashes in the background. Skrieg back to second. Tulovic leads the way as they come through turn 3. Tulovic recovers. Third place, Cardelus. Fourth, Garcia. Great start from Garcia. And fifth is Garzo. Senna Agius back to 6th.
Yeah, Garcia from the middle of the second row of the grid was able to make a good start, and Agius just got himself duffed up a little bit there in turn 2, and that's what's dropped him down the order a little bit. But it's all about now, from this point on, for him to really just try and see what he's able to do to recover.
Florov and Davies, so the Hungarian and the Bulgarian and the Brits have gone down at turn 1. So turn 1, Bit of a nightmare on these bigger bikes, it would seem. We haven't had a crash all day at turn 1 on the first lap anyway that we've seen. Tulovic leading the way, Screek's going with him.
Yeah, those kind of crashes can also happen whenever you've got one of the stock bikes and a Moto2 bike out on track together. Obviously, we've seen it with the likes of Aldeguer and Toledo in the past on those stock bikes, able to get themselves up into the top 10. That's not really the case anymore, given that we've got so many of those Triumph engine Moto2 bikes out in the field now.
And the Moto2 category as well is super competitive. Roberto Garcia, are you sure? Through turn 10, I was going to say Hector Garzo got ahead at turn 9, but Garcia was trying to get back. Garzo through to 4th. He started 6th at the back of row 2, so he's got a bit of clear air in front of him. But out front, Tulovic leads a Screek, leads Cardalus. Garzo and Garcia side by side. That's going to give Aegis the chance to get back inside the top 5. So Senna Aegis 5th.
Yeah, Aegis did run out very wide through the right-handers as well, leading into that penultimate corner, so carried a lot of momentum from that.
Let's hope there's no track limits penalties. Jairo Wheat is up into 7th. Toledo down into 8th. Alcoba 9th. Bishakirski up from, I think, 15th on the grid, up into 10th. That was Senna Aegis having a good old sniff up there. Oh, Garzo lost the front, and then he had a moment coming to on the direction change. Senna Aegis had a good sniff up the inside and couldn't make it work. But Garzo is pushing on the MV Augusta here.
Yeah, I think certainly for the likes of Aegis on that number 81 machine, he knows that he has to clear Garzo early because the MV hasn't been as competitive as we've seen Garzo in the past, and that's why for Aegis, if he wants to get onto the podium battle, he needs to clear him now.
The incident at turn 1 between Davies and Florov is currently under investigation. We'll have a little bit of a look at that when it comes through again. I'm hoping we get a replay of what happened, but main thing is both riders seemed okay. Tulovic leads a Screek. Screek is absolutely on a mission. He's looking on the inside, the number 11 through on the number 3. That's a good move, but he's going to run a little bit wide. Tulovic looking for the line back. No, Screek carries the speed, carries the momentum through into the lead.
Yeah, and you can see Aegis, he managed to get through on Garzo as well. I don't think I was down into turn 6. He's been able to stay in front of him now as well. So the gap between himself and the podium spot is around 0.8 of a second. So not an insurmountable lead at this stage, but a Moto2 bikes around Jerez, it's a 1/10 of a second here, a 1/10 of a second there. It's not big chunks of time unless someone's struggling with their tyre life.
I must admit, I'm impressed with 3rd place. Xavi Cardalus. We said, whoa, are you sure? Lucas Tulovic, he's doing a voluntary long lap penalty. That has blown it. That is a big error from Tulovic. The poleman rejoins. Rejoined a bit dodgy as well. He's in head-to-head with Garcia, but wow, Tulovic now has got to be chasing Senna Aegis. What a disaster.
Yeah, for the first time this season, Tulovic has dropped out of the top 2 spots. That's meant that Senna Aegis up into 3rd spot. And look at him now, immediately onto the back of Xavi Cardalus. He knows this is an opportunity to make up a lot of points. A Screek in front, though, with a new fastest lap. Let's see what Aegis can do this time around now with a clear track in front of him to see if he's really able to latch onto the back of his teammate, Xavi Cardalus.
42.9 last time around for Senna Aegis. Let's see what he can do indeed, Steve. 42.9 also, only 3,000 slower than a Screek who got the fastest lap. So Senna Aegis, clear track in front of him and a little bit more behind him, and of which that is filled with Lucas Tulovic, who's coming through on Ruiz. Garcia's trying to follow through as well. Oh, he had to pick it up on the apex, but gets through. Tulovic gets through up into 4th place. Now the charge is on.
I'm not going to lie, there's a little bit of me very excited to see what Tulovic is going to be like now. An angry Tulovic trying to make up for that mistake, trying to get back the time to the podium riders as well. So he's got about 2 seconds to make up on the race leader, but we know all the way through this season how strong, consistent, and just the right mental approach that we've seen from Tulovic for most of this campaign. We did see in Catalonia, though, struggled a little bit dealing with the pressure that Aegis was putting on him. So now Tulovic, after that mistake, is that the momentum starting to shift against him during the course of this Moto2 European Championship season? Aegis miles out onto the blue paint. That's the 2nd time he's done that. We're only a couple of laps into this race, so certainly for him on the 81, he's going to have to keep an eye on that.
He's going to need his paddock pass to come back online. He went so far out there. I'm just going to say I interrupted myself when Tulovic went wide, but I'm impressed with Xavi Cardalus. We said it's today the day. 2nd place. He's just under 3/10 off a Screek, and he's right there.
Aegis made up 0.4 of a second in that last sector. A lot of that's going to come from having ran so wide through those right-handers. That's definitely something race direction are going to be keeping an eye on, because even though you're allowed to exceed track limits X amount of times during the course of a race, you can't gain that big of an advantage either on a couple of occasions. So that's certainly something that's going to be keeping an eye on.
Just housekeeping. Florov and Davies, no further action to be taken. That was they were the 2 riders who got caught up in lap 1. They're the only 2 riders who have retired so far. Let's hope it stays like that. As we look at the number 11 being chased down by the 18, that's a Skrieg being chased by Cardloose, Aegis, Tulovic is coming back into this, and Garcia is up into the top 5. He's ahead of Yeray Ruiz. Both of these riders, it's a very young field at the front of this, Steve. I must admit, Moto2 has been hammered in the last couple of years. Just a couple of riders coming back from GP, not able to crack it there, not able to find a ride or whatever, but these are real stars here.
Well, you only have to look at last season with Aldeguer and just how strong he's been since he jumped onto the World Championship field. And it certainly has been a case of seeing that in the Moto2 European Championship, you can find talent, you can get riders on the way up through their career, the likes of Senna Aegis you see on the 81, because you're up against known riders, known quantities, like a Hector Garzo. Obviously, he's on the MV this year, not quite the same as what we've seen from him in the past, but we know what type of rider Lucas Tulovic is. He's a rider with a lot of experience, well known in the Grand Prix paddocks, and certainly that means that if you're able to bring the fight to him, you're doing a really good job. If you're able to beat Xavi Cardalouse, you're able to show that you warrant a second look from the World Championship. And Senna Aegis just trying to take a quick look down the inside of his teammate there, Cardalouse. But Aegis on the 81 last time around, a couple of tenths of a second faster than the race leader. But it was Tulovic that was the fastest rider out there last time around. Pulled back only a tenth of a second, but that's what he has to do. He has to claw back tenth by tenth on Senna Aegis.
Good race so far. This is going to build and build as we go through. Tulovic only a tenth quicker than Aegis, so it's a battle on here. Just a quick mention, Hector Garzo, don't know what happened there. He was up to 4th, he's back down to 8th place now. He's just ahead of Peter Pole, Peter Pishakursky, and Mark Alcoba. The fan club will be happy with the top 10. Matteo Ratto up from 13th to 11th. But back at the front, Skrieg, Cardalouse, Senna Aegis, and Lucas Tulovic, the big 4 in this class.
Yeah, Senna lost a lot of time in the first sector, but he's immediately gained it all back into turn 6 there as well, so he's right there with Cardalouse. And certainly for Aegis, he's going to know that it's Tulovic behind them, so he's got to clear these riders in front of him, put as much ground between him and the championship leader as he can.
I just wonder if Senna's sandbagging a little bit here. It's 13 laps to go, there's no need to go and try and win the race straight off. This is a replay of the start.
Yeah, and you can see Aegis there, middle of the second row of the grid on the 81 machine. Lost a bit of ground on the opening lap. The reason for that wasn't so much the initial getaway. It's keep an eye on what happens on the run through turns 1 and turn 2. This is going to be the instant further down the field. And that's a lucky escape for some of the other riders. It looked like it was the stock rider that tagged the back of the Moto2 rider there. So that's unfortunate there for Davis that you can see there on the number 16 machine out of this race. But that can happen on the run down in towards turn 1 here in Jerez. We see it time and time again.
There was something flapping around. It's still on the track, actually, in the middle of the circuit. It's like a piece of debris. It's not from that accident, but it was floating around on the circuit in the prelude to that crash. So I just wonder if that took someone's eye line and back on the racing line, gone for a load of front brake and Florence hit the back.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to notice that too much whenever you're in behind someone on the run down in towards turn 1, and it's enough off the line now as well that it shouldn't be much of a factor. But you can see now at the front of the field, Tulovic once again closing down a third of a second faster than anyone out there right now, and that's why he's got the gap down to around about a second.
Skrieg a little bit wide, your race leader, the first error we've seen. Cardalouse will be looking to pounce. Xavi Cardalouse, what a revelation he's been here. He's not shown too strongly in 2022. It's not been his best start to a campaign, but he's right there now. Senna Aegis is right there now, looking to take both of them, third to first.
Injuries for Cardalouse have really held him back this season, and good to see him get himself back onto some sort of form. We've obviously seen him a front runner all the way through the last few years in the European Championship. A lot of experience in the World Championship as well. He's one of the riders that has probably the most experience on Moto2 machinery, so that's where it's really important to see him up at the front of the field, a rider that you can use as a real barometer to which you can judge the likes of Aegis, the likes of a Skrieg, 2 of the younger riders out there.
Yeah, and you can really trust Cardalouse as well, because he's a very neat rider, doesn't make too many errors, and really he's a very fun. Senna Aegis there was wide, and that's another track limits warning. Cardalouse looking at the inside, can't make it work there at turn 13, but Senna Aegis, I actually think he lost the front and maybe, or just ran in a bit hot at turn 12. I don't think he was running out because he got the power on too soon, so hopefully that's how Race Direct should see it and we don't get any penalties.
Yeah, I think that's 3 occasions we've seen him do that though, and fool me once. Fool me twice, fool me 3 times, but I think for St. Aegis, he needs to be careful with that. You can see there for Cardelus, though. Nice clean move down into 2.
Very good move for Cardelus. 11 laps to go. He has hit the front. Very good stuff from the Andorran. Looking for that first win. It has eluded him so many times in this class. Is today, as we said, going to be the day where it all comes to an end for that winning feeling and the weight that it's been. It's been a long time. He's instantly gapped to Skrieg here. Cardelus looking good. The 81 of Senna Aegis trying to get through as well on a Skrieg, but Skrieg rides a very defensive line, and Tulovic just keeping a watching brief as well. Aegis on the brakes, a bit squirrely, but gets it all anchored up. The blast up now towards turn 7. Cardelus, your new race leader. If you're just joining us, we've got way over half race distance to go. Xavi Cardelus hasn't won a race yet. Second place for Skrieg. He's been your long-time race leader since the start. Is he going to have an answer back, I wonder? Senna Aegis third. Tulovic is now with them. It's half a second, more or less, covering the front 4.
Yeah, that's a good one for Cardelus. This is his 100th Moto2 start between the CEV classes, the JuniorGP classes, and in the World Championship as well. So could this finally be the day that he claims that first race victory? He's going to be under pressure. We're still coming up towards half distance. Senna Aegis down the inside there. He knows that he needs to make sure he's able to hit the front straight away. He's got good drive through there, but we saw his teammate Cardelus able to just hold on to that around the outside. But certainly you'd expect to see Aegis make his move on his teammate pretty soon. And
Cardelus has been particularly strong on the brakes. He seems to be having the measure at the moment of Aegis. We don't know if Aegis is sandbagging. No, you would imagine so. He's looked like he's had the pace and the measure of Cardelus all season, but Cardelus is really coming on strong here. At track, of course, it's on miles out. He's done so much. He's got so much experience there.
I don't think it's sandbagging as so much as just keeping his powder dry right now for Aegis. We've obviously seen him have those track limits exceeding and a few mistakes here and there, but I think seems that he's got a little bit more pace underneath him when he really wants to push on. But for Cardelus, he's a rider with a lot of experience, always been at the front of the field, knocking on the door of race victories. And now's his chance, and certainly he'll view this as being his perfect chance now to claim that first Moto2 race victory.
Just outside of these top 4, Roberto Garcia is in 5th place. Good ride from him, the best we've seen of the Spaniard in his first year of Moto2 action, and he's not that far away, so he's just over a second half back of your championship leader Tulovic, so it's a good effort from Roberto Garcia. And in 6th place, Yero Ruiz is just holding off Toledo at the moment at number 55. Alex Toledo in 7th place there, 2.8 seconds back of your lead. It's close at the front. It's probably one of the closest Moto2 races we've seen all year, where so many riders are in such a smallish gap of each other.
Yeah, it has been a good battle at the front of the field. Tulovic hasn't really done too much to try and get through. You can see for Senna Aegis, though, down into the last corner, going to make sure he's able to make the move.
Very good. He was on the brakes there last time. Cardelus was a bit wide last time. Cardelus will be looking to drag it out to the line. No, it's side by side. Formation flying for the Promo Racing teammates. Cardelus on the right. He's on the outside. Wow, I don't believe he's outbraked Senna Aegis there. He's been good on the brakes, but not round the outside. So Cardelus, do you reckon he wants to win?
Yeah, he's doing what he can there. It's good, brave riding from Cardelus, but it's also fighting a really tough battle up against Senna Aegis. We saw Aegis obviously really strong into that last corner, able to make the block pass down there. But on the run out of that corner, lost a bit of momentum. And we saw from Cardelus good, clever riding to make sure he's able to get that bike picked up, carry his momentum down the straight.
Tulovic sitting in 4th. Obviously, he had to go back. This is a replay, Steve, of that move. Good stuff from Cardelus.
Yeah, Cardelus on the outside. He's able to hold the normal racing line into there, just pick his normal braking point, and a nice move there. Obviously, for Aegis, doesn't want to get himself involved in a big battle with his teammate as well. That can be a factor. But as we're just moving towards half distance in this race, and now's the time when Aegis has clearly looked to push on, make his move. Now he needs to make it stick and try and break away, but certainly for Cardelus, he's doing what he can. I'm
just thinking if Tulovic, because we said he dropped back, he's had to catch this group back up. I'm just wondering if he's happy to sit in 4th. Give his tyres a small rest. This obviously isn't the fastest race pace that we can do. I'm sure if Tulovic was at the front of this with Senna Aegis, they'd be pushing on a couple of tenths a second quicker a lap, but he's there and just letting the race come to him in his closing stages.
Yeah, well, for Tulovic, you have to give him that benefit as well, because we've seen him all the way through this season, how strong he is mentally. Now's the time for him to see if he's able to make a move on a Skrieg pretty soon, just to keep himself in touch there with Senna Aegis in case Aegis can hit the front.
It's a good race of this. 4 riders in the battle for victory. 4 of them in the battle for the podium, but 4 into 3 places doesn't go. One of these guys is going to be disappointed. Cardelus looking for that first win. Skrieg looking to try and get back on the podium, and they've got the 2 main title rivals right to deal with.
One of them could be disappointed. A few of these could be disappointed because they're right with one another. It's very easy to have an instant. We've seen it already in the Junior GP class on the last lap what can happen if you're trying to make some moves around this track. And you can see there for Skrieg on the 11, just pushing really hard through turn 4 there, ran out over the curb. He's trying to do what he can to make sure he's able to stay in this lead battle. Skrieg, with a lot of experience this season racing in the Moto2 Championship as well, and he's done a good job in that. But this is really good to see from Skrieg, a rider that came up from the stock classes and was given his chance on a Moto2 bike.
And once again, Aegis losing time in that first sector, getting it back in the second one. Tulovic wide. Another mistake from Tulovic in a hard braking area. I'm just wondering if he's struggling with the front end of that bike. So Tulovic now drops to over, I'd say, a second back of your race leader. That's definitely a second. So Tulovic has got all the work to do again. Now we'll see what pace he's got. 5th place, 31, Roberto Garcia. This is a good ride from him, Steve.
Yeah, Garcia doing a good job, but doesn't have the same pace as the riders in front of him. That's why he's about 3 seconds adrift. But he is doing a really good job on 31 to run inside the top 5 spots. And certainly from Garcia, what we've seen this season is in Estoril, in the second race this season, he was very strong running up inside those top 6 spots. Just down the inside into the last corner, hits the front, gets the bike stopped, and now it's up to him to be able to exit that corner strongly to hold on to that race lead, because you can see this time around Cardelus a lot further back than when he was able to immediately try and retake the race lead.
Yeah, very good move from Senna Aegis there. Cardelus too far back to dive bomb into turn 1 this time, but he's quicker through sector 1. Will we see a move maybe in towards turn 5? Will he try and line something up into the dead stop at turn 6?
I don't think so, because Aegis is very strong on the run up through Cedo Pond's corner, turn 5, onto the back straight. It's a very short back straight here as well. Jerez is one of the few tracks where you don't see these bikes using all 6 gears. They only use 5 gears, so you're not really showing your full top speed. You can see there for Aegis a much wider line through the high turn 5 point, but it also lets him carry that speed down the back straight. So for the other riders, this is where they know it's going to be really difficult to attack Aegis. He's able to hold on to the race lead.
Cardelus had a little look, but it just wasn't quite worth the risk with 7 to go to launch up the inside there. So Cardelus, let's see what pace he's got. Maybe he's not been pushing the pace like we think he has. Maybe Cardelus has got something left in the locker, we'll see, but Tulovic is getting the hurry up now. Tulovic was over a second back. Oh! Massive moment. That was Cardelus. Deary me, out the seat. We was out the seat in the commentary box. Alex Skrieg comes through then to take second place off him, and that's how hard Cardelus wants to push. He knows he needs to lead this from the front, otherwise he risks not getting that first win.
And this is exactly what Senna Aegis needs. He needs to open up as much of a gap as he can on this lap. Whenever we've had that mistake from Cardelus, we've had them battling. Cardelus, is he going to be close enough to try and make a move down in towards turn 1? If he can, that's what's going to cost them a little bit more time in this battle. Tulovic is seeing the time that's being lost now to Aegis, so he knows he needs to make his way onto the podium spots.
Tulovic looking on the inside of Cardelus. Gets it done. He was a bit shaky in the braking area that time, but he's got the move done. The number 3 gets ahead of the number 18. And Tulovic is back in the podium positions. He needs to clear Skrieg as soon as possible, and to have a chance at Senna Aegis. Skrieg's not letting Aegis go just yet, but we know Aegis is not at his best through sector 1. He's going to go out wide there. Skrieg's got a run on him up towards the turn 5 at Cedo Pond's corner, but can't get it done. Now Aegis comes into his own. The rest of the lap, he looks very good. Tulovic out wide again. Another mistake, and that allows Cardelus through. So Tulovic, that's 3 errors that we've seen here. Maybe there's been more out on the track, but he's having a really difficult race here as Skrieg launches an attack now. The number 11 of Alex Skrieg goes through, parks it on the apex and moves on through. Tulovic pushes Cardelus aside to retake 3rd. It's all action in Moto2.
Yeah, we've seen Skrieg have 3 podiums already this season, so he knows what it takes to get himself into those top positions. But being able to fight it out for a race win is always a very different story. But Skrieg on the 11 looks really strong at this stage of the race. We're coming into the final third of the race, so this is where it really comes into who's been able to manage the tyres better. You can see already, compared to when we started today's broadcast with the Moto3 bikes out on track, much brighter conditions, much more blue skies out there. Track temperatures come right up. These final 5 laps are going to be about about who's managed that tyre as well as possible. It's also about who's been able to keep it as cool as possible out there. Once you're behind another bike, the temperature can rise really quickly with these tyres.
Yeah, and of course the track surface will be a bit slippier in places, so that's another thing to be careful of. It's looking in the background, it looks like Toledo's got ahead of Garcia, so Garcia, who was 5th, is back into 6th now behind Toledo. There's a 10th of a second between them as Cardelus got it all a bit squirrely going down into turn 1, but he got it stopped. Tulovic is lining up Aegis. This is your title battle. Don't forget about Skrieg. He is in this race and he is leading it, but that isn't the main story. Yes, it is that he's going to take a potential first win, but the battle for the title is on. Tulovic and the Skrieg that time out onto the green.
Yeah, but what a last lap from a Skrieg. He was a full second faster than Senna Aegis. Obviously had to make that overtaking move. It's cost Aegis a bit of time as well, but last time around a Skrieg with his new personal best and only a 10th of a second off the fastest lap of this race as well. So he's got a good bike underneath him right now. He's feeling confident. He knows this is his chance to claim his first race victory in the class.
Cardelus wide again at turn 4, so I think at turn 6, so I think 4th is all she wrote for the Andorran. That first race win is just going to have to wait a little bit longer. Cardelus struggling with the front end of the bike then, whilst the Skrieg, no struggles for him. He's over a second clear nearly as they come through the stadium section. Senna Aegis is under pressure from Tulovic. They collided last time out in Catalonia in the closing stages of that race. Are we going to see another clash between the pairing? Tulovic is building through these fast right-handers that end this lap. There's 5 laps to go, make it really 4 and a bit. Tulovic has got a good line here. Is he going to look on the inside? He's building all the way through. He's going to let the brakes off down the inside. Gets it stopped. Both of them run a little bit wide, but Tulovic gets ahead of his main title rival. Back into second for the number 3. Will Senna Aegis respond? Down the front straight we go. Not this time.
The rider responding is Alex Skrieg. Once again, new fastest lap of the race, 7/10 of a second faster than Tulovic up in second spot. He's opened up a second and a half. This is a Skrieg's race to lose now. A second and a half is the gap, 4 laps to go. And a Skrieg who, up until this season, had still been racing in the stock class. A lot of top 10 finishes on a stock Yamaha or a 6. Now he's been out there on a Moto2 bike. He's had 3 podiums already this season. Now he's in position to claim his first race victory.
This would be quite something. We have had 31 different winners in the Moto2 class since its inception back in 2010. It feels like it's been forever, and a Skrieg could really add his name to this list.
Yeah, we've had maiden winners in the Moto3 class, the European Talent Cup class, and potentially now in the Moto2 European Championship. Only 1 race for the Moto2 class here this weekend, but certainly for a Skrieg, another couple of 10ths of a second on this lap. He's got the bike underneath him. Tulovic is starting to stretch out a little bit of a lead now over Senna Aegis, and Aegis is under pressure from Cardelus to hold on to that podium spot. 3.5 laps to go.
I think only one rider can beat a Skrieg, and that's a Skrieg. I just don't see, with 3 laps to go, how Tulovic or Senna Aegis, despite the performance they've had on the field throughout the course of this 2022 season, how they're going to catch a Skrieg here. A Skrieg has scampered off. He's 1.7 clear. Tulovic is pushing. He knows he has to. Cardelus is right on the tail of Senna Aegis. But this looks like surely being a number 11 victory for Alex Skrieg. It's been coming. We know he's a fast rider. He's been in the stock class until this year. And wow, is he making hay whilst the sun is now shining at Jerez. Tulovic second, 1.6 back. We've got yellow flags at turn 6. We'll pick that up. Oh, someone go what? Oh no, someone leapt out of my chair there. Someone's coming on the exit pit lane. They're a lap down. Not sure who that was, but we've got yellow flags at turn 6. We'll pick that up soon. Tulovic looks like he's got second place. I don't think he's going to close in, Steve. I think the Skrieg's done. Ooh.
It's Tagliarini that's down there at turn 6, and yeah, it does look like right now Tulovic, too much ground to make up. Last time around lost another couple of 10ths of a second, so it's 1.7 seconds. This is the battle out there though. It's the battle for that final step on the podium. Aegis up against Cardelus.
Cardelus, a bit of a moment through turn 5 there. He's pushing on. We've seen him have a couple of moments here and there, but with 2.5 laps to go, he'll want to beat his teammate. Oh, the number 2's in. That's Mark Alcoba. Disaster. So we said the fan club would be happy with a top 10. I bet they're not happy now. Tulovic is away here second. The only battle is for this final podium position. Alex Skrieg is up the road. Barring acts of God, he's got this one done, I'm fairly sure. 1.7 is his advantage, but the 2 promo racing bikes, Senna Aegis, double winner last time out. Cardelus isn't taking this line down.
What's interesting is that Skrieg another 0.3 of a second on this lap so far to stretch out from the second man there, Lucas Tulovic. So he's really comfortable out there. He's not panicking about being out in front, closing in on his first race victory in the European Championship.
Tyre management, you said, was key, Steve, and that just goes to show because Cardelus pushing on right at the early stages, dropping back, and the Skrieg keeping powder dry and pulling clear.
Well, what's interesting is obviously Cardelus at the start of this race wasn't as fast through the corners. He was trying to get the bike stopped and then spit it out of the corner really well. So he might have managed his tyres a little bit better than his teammate Senna Agius. As it is, though, he's still got 0.3 of a second and has to make that move to get himself onto the podium spots. Lucas Tulovic last time around was another 3-4 of a second faster than Agius and Cardelus. So he looks like he's that little bit out of reach right now. So it is just about the podium battle and then this battle as well for the top 5 spots.
Yeah, this is the battle for 5th place. Jeri Ruiz has come right back into this, so Ruiz doing a fantastic job on the number 72. From a distance, it looks like Marco Bezzecchi, but it obviously isn't. It's Jeri Ruiz. Toledo 6th, he was momentarily 5th, and Garcia in 7th. Roberto Garcia, rookie in the class, just dropped back a little bit now. He might be able to pick up the pieces if there are any scraps left for him there, if these two tangle. He has been in the top 5 for the majority of this race, and he's not quite done yet. A lap and a half to go. At the front, Skrieg's holding firm, 1.6 clear of Tulovic, who's got second over Agius, who has now got 3.5 tenths up to 4 tenths over teammate Cardelus. So maybe our front 4 are fixed in, although it doesn't look like it. I think Cardelus is punting Agius along. This is the final real battle on the track. This is 5th place. Impressed with Ruiz.
Yeah, Ruiz has done a really good job. A rider that's raced in a lot of championships already this season, so he's got a lot of track time, but he's gone from one type of bike to another. He's been on an OR3, basically a Super Sport 300 bike, and then he's been on a Moto2 bike, he's been on Moto E. He's done as much as he can to get himself out there on as many races as possible to gain that experience. Doing a really good job in this race to be running inside the top 5.
Last lap time, Skrieg's got this surely sorted. Tulovic in 2nd. Damage limitation for him, but it will extend his championship lead. The question, Steve, 3rd. Agius, if you're Cardelus, you want to beat your teammate, but he's in the title race. Do you put a bold move on him?
Get through on him, and that's what Cardelus is going to be thinking, because he doesn't have that many podiums in the Moto2 class. He's only had 5 podiums in the European Championship. This is a chance to get up for another one.
Yeah, he's trying. He's definitely looking. There's no team orders in promo racing, that is for sure. Senna Agius looking vulnerable in that first sector, but he has done all race. I'm not sure if Cardelus, will he make the move at turn 6? He's pulling out. He's not close enough. So there's another opportunity gone. Agius a little bit loose on the rear, trying to get it stopped, and he does run wide, but he's going to be on the inside for turn 7. We flick left through here, fast through here, turn 7. The burst to 8, there's a couple of chances, but not many, Steve.
There's the last corner. That's the opportunity for Cardelus. He is really close to his teammate now. So Cardelus on the 18, he'll know that it's all about trying to get himself set up for a move into the last corner. Is he going to try it into the stadium?
He tries it early. He took an early line there. He's going for the apex at turn 9. Pushes Agius out. Has he blown it now? It looks like he may well have just gone too early. I think Cardelus is going to have to build momentously through these final 2 right-handers, but at the front, it looks like it's all done. Our front 4 are in this order. Alexis Skrieg is going to be, I don't want to say a surprise winner because it has been coming, but we didn't expect it today. He's shown good pace all weekend and he's finally come to fruition. Alexis Skrieg is a new race winner, the 32nd different race winner in the class. Championship leader Lucas Tulovic will extend his championship lead. It will go up to 29 points over Senna Agius, who completes the podium. He couldn't make it 3 on the spin. Xavi Cardelus finishes 4th, denied a podium and a chance to win again. Alex Toledo, we haven't seen it on screen, took 5th place off Jeri Ruiz, and there's only a quarter of a second between them there. Roberto Garcia 7th. What a fantastic race. Alexis Skrieg, the number 11. We have got a yellow flag at the final corner. I'm not sure who that is. Is it Marcon, perhaps, and Ratto? I think there has been a collision at the final corner between Tommaso Marcon and Mattia Ratto, which is a bit of a shame because Ratto had come right the way through the order from row 5, I think he was, as I looked through the paperwork. But Marcon and Ratto then seemingly have come together. Escrig, a new winner. Tulovic, Aegis, Carlos Toledo, Ruiz Garcia. Hector Garzo was up inside the top 4 at first. Then he's dropped back to 8th place. Crash at turn 10. Rider OK, that's the number 13. That is Ratto. So maybe Ratto has gone down at turn 10 and Marcon has gone at 13. That's definitely... no, that's both of them. Oh no, it is Marcon. That is Tommaso Marcon. He's down at the final corner. And we're being told Mattia Ratto has gone... Oh no, they're both together. Okay, well, final corner, Ratto and Marcon. Good thing is they're both up and walking away. Oh dear, here we go. Oh, their teammates as well. Oh dear, that's Ratto. Ratto getting that completely... Oh dear, the Marcon's bike runs over his leg. Mattia Ratto. Oh dear, there's going to be some big words down in that garage. So Mattia Ratto, the number 13 on the MMR, has taken out his teammate. We have seen it so many times at Jerez at that last corner. But that is not good at all. But hopefully the main thing is they're both okay. Just looking back through the order, Tapia took 12th, so that was a very good ride from him. Bishkiski was 9th behind Garzo, who was momentarily up inside the top 4. Eduardo Monterey comes home 10th on the KTM, 11th for Rodriguez, 12th for Tapia, 13th for the Filipino rider Kyle Paz, Ruiz and Chris Seisbar in 15th place, just 9 Kevin Orgies, and a point there for him. Alex Escrig back in the Park Firm, and that is a huge, big boost to his title hopes. Wow, that has done his championship a load of good coming into this. Escrig was 3rd. He was one of the riders to watch. He had a podium, including in Barcelona when he was 3rd. Now he's got a victory. The team are absolutely delighted, and 25 points puts him on 99. Senna Aegis only got 16. He will move on to 106, whilst Tulovic, 20, puts him on 135. So Tulovic moving forward and getting that crucial race wins worth of points advantage over his nearest opposition. But maybe the battle as 2022 evolves will be between those 3 at the front. It seems to be the case that Escrig this weekend has found some great form. Escrig, number 11, your race winner, ahead of the number 3 Lucas Tulovic and 81 Senna Aegis. Let's listen in. Front tyre, the problem seeming to be for Lucas Tulovic. We did say that he looked like he had a couple of moments on the front end, and yet just confirming there that Tulovic had a bit of a drama with the front tyre. Senna Aegis 3rd place, he can be happy with that. It was a good performance in Barcelona, a double race win there. The incident involving Marcon and Ratto is under investigation. This is the race winning move. Escrig on Aegis, and Aegis didn't really have an answer. Escrig looked like he had the bike under him in the closing stages of the race. This is down into the final corner, a little bit loose, but apart from that, all done and dusted. Senna Aegis was in a bit deep as well, but he managed to get it turned. Card loose wasn't coming under him at all. And Escrig looks to the pit board and realises that he is a new race winner and the first of his career in this class. He had plenty of wins in Stock 600 before, and now he's done it in the main class, the one that they all want to win in on their road to MotoGP. Three races done on today's billing. We've still got 2 more to go. I'm not sure if we're going to last that long. It's been great action all the way through. Moto2 was a very, very intriguing battle right from the word go. We had 4 riders in contention at one point. But in the end, it was Alex Escrig, the number 11, the beautiful, resplendent Yamaha Moto2 livery that finds its way working towards the top step. Lucas Tulovic 2nd, Senna Aegis 3rd. But let's go down and hear from our new race winner. He's with Steve English.
Yeah, Alex Escrig just getting himself ready. But Alex, your first race victory here in the Moto2 class. It's been a tough year in the stock class before, but now finally a race winner.
Yeah, difficult year for us. Team is working really hard. We are working really hard. After Barcelona, we know that we have to work. We did a really tough Thursday, and yeah, this victory is for my team because the hours in the bike that they are doing is amazing. I'm really happy. Also, all my team that is behind me support me, and my family, sponsors, all is for this. It's for they, and I'm really happy.
Well done, Alex, and some words in Spanish.
Bueno, muy contento porque después de Barcelona, bueno, sabíamos que teníamos que trabajar, hemos trabajado muy duro. El jueves fue increíble, cambiamos de 3 tandas 4 veces la moto. Y bueno, esta victoria sobre todo para el equipo porque el trabajo es increíble. Ha sido una temporada un poco difícil, pero bueno, muy contento, dar las gracias a toda la gente que está detrás de mí, a los patrocinadores y bueno, dar las gracias a todos.
Congratulations, Alex.
What a race we had in the Moto2 European Championship. It was Alex Skrieg who got the whole shot, despite Lukas Tulovic trying to get through, whilst there was this crash at the back, Florov and Davies going out, and a big pile-up down at turn 1. Skrieg leading the way, Tulovic almost followed suit, he almost hit the back of him, and that was a massive error from Tulovic. He had to then push on. He had a few moments on the front end, front tyre wear would turn out to be the issue. Meanwhile, at the front, the promo racing duo of Xavi Cardelus and Senna Aegis were giving Skrieg a hard time, and Cardelus, looking for his first race win in the class, was on a mission in the opening section of the race. Back at the front, and it was now Cardelus who fought his way through. Senna Aegis was in second, Skrieg and Tulovic, the front 4 all covered by half a second. It was an intense battle at the front. Aegis tried making his move, pushed through, Cardelus would cut back. Cardelus then went down the outside at turn 1, you'll see it in a moment. He let the brakes off. Cardelus really a man on a mission in the second part, as well as the first part, but front tyre wear and tyre wear in general for the Andorran proved to be a problem. Skrieg went up to second, then he went on to make his move for victory at the Dani Pedrosa corner at turn 6. And then there was no looking back. Lukas Tulovic, having dropped back way downfield because of his mistake, would finish in second, while Senna Aegis would hold on to third. But Alex Skrieg would hold on. There was this crash. Mattia Ratto. Rule number 1, don't take out your teammate. Rule number 2, if you can, beat him. He took out Tommaso Marcon. Alex Skrieg, the 32nd, different winner in Moto2. Now time for the podium ceremony. It's a first victory for the team. It's a third new winner, of the day. So the JuniorGP round at Jerez, round 4, the halfway point has been fantastic. Senna Aegis was on the top step last time out, twice in Barcelona, but in the category's only race this weekend, he's third. Second for Tulovic, championship leader, but a massive round of applause and big cheers for Alex Skrieg on top of the podium. Team award collected by the team representative. Third place trophy handed to Senna Aegis. That is still a 100% podium record in 2022. The Australian, a big talent for the future. Tulovic, 3 races without a win now. Time, has it turned, or is it just a drop in form? We say a drop in form. He has been second when he's not been winning. Alex Skrieg, though, a new race winner. Fantastic stuff. This will be the national anthem for Spain.
Fuerte el aplauso para el vencedor, Alex Skrig.
We've heard that plenty of times in plenty of motorcycle racing world championships, and Alex Skrig once more a race winner. This time it's in Moto2, and it is time for these guys to get spraying the Prosecco DOC. Fantastic stuff for Skrig on the top step of the podium for the first time. He is only 18, from Valencia. He has done a fantastic job, and rightly deserved and hard-earned. Congratulations from the two title rivals, Lukas Tulovic and Senna Agius. So, one of the best Moto2 races of the year. Alex Skrig adds his name to the winners list. He took victory by 1.5 seconds. Lukas Tulovic in second, Senna Agius third. 3 different nationalities on the podium. Xavi Cardelus makes it 4 in the top 4. Toledo, Ruiz, Garcia and Garzo make it a Spanish 5th to 8th. Peter Bishakirski, the Polish rider, in 9th. Eduardo Monterey, 43 seconds back, completes the top 10. Top stock rider, Juan Rodriguez on the Cuna de Campeones Yamaha. As we go all the way down through the field, Rodriguez, Tapia and Alex Ruiz, the top 3 in the stock class. Pasquale Alfano, he started this year in the JuniorGP Championship on Moto3 machinery. He's moved up to stock class now. Tommaso Marcon and Mattia Ratto taking each other. Well, Mattia Ratto actually taking Tommaso Marcon out the final corner. Those two are teammates. Oh dear. All the way down, Jamie Davis and Mihail Florov retired early on. A big collision at turn 1 on lap 1. Tulovic leads the championship by 29 points. Alex Skrig's win closes him in. He's 36 adrift of the leading German. Alex Toledo and Mattia Ratto, DNF for Ratto, keeps him in 5th. Yero Ruiz closing up in 6th, just 5 points behind Ratto. Xavi Cardelus, Andorran, making steps up towards the top 6. He's in 7th overall. Jamie Davis, Britain's Jamie Davis, not able to score points today after being taken out at turn 1 and lap 1. He stays 17th and on 12 points. And this is also the podium for the stock class. As we said, Juan Rodriguez taking honours. Steve, it's been a fantastic Moto2 race right the way through the field, and hopefully plenty more to come this afternoon with the other classes.
Yeah, certainly should be. We've had 3 different winners in the opening 3 races of the day, and no pressure on everyone else then for the rest of this day. But certainly in the Moto2 class, we saw some really good racing, especially in the front of the field, but good battling in the stock class as well.
Yeah, very good. Alex Ruiz is your championship leader today. He's only 9 points ahead of Marco Tapia, so it's a bit of a battle going on there. Chris Seisbar is there in 3rd, 45 back. Juan Rodriguez with that victory today puts him 4th, just 2 points back of the top 3. Ryan van der Lagermaat completes the top 5. Alex Skrig adds his name into some history. He is a new winner in the Moto2 class. What does the future hold for Skrig? Is he going to be in the title fight right to the end of this Moto2 season? You wouldn't bet against it. He's right there now. He's 36 points adrift of championship leader Lukas Tulovic. What a day for Skrig. The 18-year-old Valencian delivers the goods here at Jerez.